Well, Sean, I guess Chelsea didn't do so well because we're missing somebody. This
Hmm.
is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. This is the North London edition of Red Card Radio. My name is James. I support Arsenal. With me tonight, that is Sean. He supports Tottenham. Coming to you live from somewhere in North London.
Yeah,
Location not to be disseminated. Um, yeah, what's up, man? How you doing?
doing all right. I've got the. Don't be alarmed if I keep looking behind me. I am not paranoid. I've got the ear flipped up as well. There is a puppy behind me that
Oh,
I need to keep at least half an ear on to make sure he's not
you know,
doing puppy things.
yeah, like puppies are like babies. Like when they're quiet, you know that something is amiss. Yeah.
Yeah, right now he is sleeping,
Oh,
so
well,
that's
okay.
good.
That's good. Um,
So,
Thanks for clicking on this video or
yeah,
clicking on this podcast. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, ring the sub notification bell, hit the share button, put it on your social media, email it to your friends. All those things really do help us out. If you're on one of the podcast site, thank you. We appreciate you listening in. Hit the subscribe button, follow whatever your platform so allows. Rate, review, comments, all that good stuff. Join our Discord in the description below, all that good stuff. We really appreciate it, all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All right. What do we have on offer tonight and more holistically this week? Sean, are you aware that it's the international break?
yes, it's incredibly frustrating to
This
start the season out and then immediately go back into it.
this is by far the worst international break on the calendar. If FIFA got rid of this one, I think we would all be so much happier. Just generally speaking, because like playing 3 weeks, like having 3 games and then getting it ripped away from us. And on top of that, hearing the reports of all of the Manchester City players and the Chelsea players who are pulling out of international duty, and you're just like, come on, Arsenal, tell Saka he's sick. Like,
Yeah.
come on, France. Tell Saliba he's got a toe bruise. It's just like I don't want my players playing international football right now, especially not for the Nations League.
Yeah, I've got I think Madison is going to sit. I don't think he made it on this one, so that's good. He'll be home for the whole time. I saw Cole Palmer was not named to the team,
No, no, no.
which is a shock.
He was named to the team, but he pulled out because he's sick or something like that, whatever it is, or maybe it's Phil
Okay,
Foden who's
yeah.
sick. But I think Cole Palmer was called up extensively and got out of it somehow.
Yeah. Um
Unbelievable.
I guess Solanke hasn't been called up, so that's not a worry. I mean, he's got a little ankle thing, so I don't think he would have went even if he is called up.
I
It's
think
just kind of crowded on the front line. I don't think Solanke's just right there enough to get in.
I mean, it's really difficult to pick a number 9 behind Harry Kane. Like Harry Kane is clearly always getting called up for England if he's healthy, at least for the
Yeah.
at least this next Euros cycle. Are we going to Euros or World Cup next?
Yeah. We
Euros.
are going
Wait, no, we're going
to.
towards the World Cup because we just had the
Yeah, we
Euros.
just did the Euros.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Um. so
Yeah.
we're in this. So we're in the
And
World
plus,
Cup.
last
What's up?
last year they went Watkins instead of
Yeah,
Solanke.
but
I think that was the decision as
they've
to
been get
which one's coming.
they've been taking Watkins and Tony since Tony came back from his ban, and so like those have been
Oh,
your
that's right.
attackers, and like Marcus Rashford hasn't had a spot, Solanke hasn't had a spot, Callum Wilson hasn't had a spot, and so like it's interesting, but I say that with international football is messing up Red Card Radio this week because we're only going to have one episode. We're going to be doing our review of match week 3. We'll be talking about the games that happened. We will update you guys all on the picks that people have made. If you've been making the picks, you'll get updated on that. And of course, we will talk smack about Brad because he's decided that he can't join us this evening. So, with that being said, I think we need to get the elephant out of the room first. I think we need
Okay.
to deal with this Arsenal Brighton, result. The game ended
Sure.
1-1 at the Emirates. Uh, First half goal from Kai Havertz, and Brighton equalized in the second half after Declan Rice was sent off for a second yellow card. And in the 49th minute, that's really when the game kind of changed. Now, if you have not seen it, um, and you're paying attention to football, I'm surprised you haven't seen this second yellow card for Declan Rice. But essentially, he gets a yellow card, a deserved yellow card in the first half, and in the second half, there's a foul in the corner by the Brentford goal. So Arsenal are attacking. Brentford's trying to clear the ball. Rice and the Brentford player are kind of tangling in the corner. Rice is called for the foul, and so Rice kind of stands up, throws his arms up to the ref. The Brighton player kicks the ball at Rice. Ball hits Rice's foot. Rice kind of flicks the ball away, very very minorly, but he does flick the ball. As the Brighton player is getting ready to kick the ball, the Brighton player then decides to kick Rice in the lower leg, upper shin area. Rice falls over. Rice stands up. All the players surround the ref, and the Brighton players are adamant that Declan Rice deserves a second yellow card for time wasting, and the ref agrees, gives Declan Rice a second yellow card, and sends him off for delaying a restart. Now, the tagline is, or the talking point that it had to have come out from the PGMOL, is that the referee applied the letter of the law, and he had no choice. He just applied the law as it is written. And Declan Rice is naughty, and he should have known better. And that's what it is. What are your thoughts about this, Sean?
Well, we've had a few days to discuss in our lengthy pre-productions that usually go all week in our group chat.
Yeah.
Um, my initial reaction was from a player standpoint, and that's how usually I frame my mind. Of if you are a leader on a team and you know you're on a yellow, that you can't do that. You have to be smarter than that to put yourself in a position where the ref could make that decision. Uh, I have backed off a little bit. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. In the moment, I didn't see how minor it was. He does barely move the ball. It's like a couple of feet. Um, and I think if I were you, the thing that would make me most mad is that the ref had plenty of time to make this decision. It was not immediate that he runs over and flashes the yellow. There was a scrum. He had to make his way around. He had probably a solid 15 to 20 seconds to think on it before the yellow was actually shown, and he still did it.
Yeah, that
So
honestly makes it worse. That honestly makes it
that's what I'm
worse.
saying. If you watch the replay, it takes a minute for the ref to get around everybody
Yeah.
to get to Rice.
Yeah, because I mean, the Brighton player kicks the crap out of Declan Rice's leg. Like, he has no interest in trying to kick the ball. He is solely trying to kick Rice because he knows what Rice is doing.
Yeah.
Rice is trying to slow the game down, which is true. And he's like, I'm going to kick Rice and force the referee to do something about it. And so he did. And yeah, like, the ref does take a very long time. At least two or three Brighton players, at least two Brighton players, the goalkeeper and unfortunately Danny Welbeck, tell the ref, like, you can do some lip reading and see that they tell the ref that it has to be a second yellow card, that he has to get a yellow card for that. So the Brighton players are clearly in the ref's ear. And yeah, and so my biggest issue is that this is the only time all season we will see a second yellow card for time wasting and a send off. And on top of that, this is the only time in this game, and I think in this match weekend, over the course of these 10 games, I'm not sure anyone else got a yellow card for delaying a restart in that sense. I'm not saying that goalkeepers didn't get yellow cards for that, or anything like that, but like for like the kicking the ball or picking up the ball and throwing it when the foul gets called against you, things like that.
You probably have to have in your Arsenal history, the two most uh, egregious red cards for time wasting, right?
Yes.
The Van Persie and the
Yes.
Champions League, right? You know
Yes.
you knew where I was going with that? Yes.
Before you said it, when you said the two, yeah, and that was also a second yellow card. That was also a
That
second
was a
yellow
second,
card.
yeah, second yellow. It kicks it almost as the whistle's getting blown, Van Persie. Like it is almost simultaneous.
Yeah, it's the yeah, that one was awful. That one was so
Yeah.
so bad
Which
because
one's worse? Which
of
one's worse?
Van Persie in the Champions League.
Oh,
Absolutely, because we're beating Barcelona. We're beating Barcelona in this
yeah.
tie. We're up at the Camp Nou. There's 90,000 people in the stadium screaming and cheering, and the ref blows the whistle. And within a second, within the second after the ref blows the whistle,
It was
Van Persie
fractional.
takes
Yeah.
one touch and kicks the ball towards the goal, and the ref gives him a yellow card for that. Like that one is unconscionable. And the fact that
That's
like
that's
we
when Barcelona still had money to pay refs. That's
yeah,
what that was.
absolutely,
They
absolutely.
don't they ran out of that.
Well, I think they sold the ref bribing portion of their business to the
Oh,
media company.
that was part of the right
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
part of the rights deal. Yeah.
one of the economic levers, I think. But yeah, we do have two of, and this Declan Rice one is up there. The problem is that it happens in the league and it happens in match week 3, and like there's less pressure on that specific point. And so that's why it's less it's not as bad as the Van Persie one. Um, but it was awful. I think I don't know anyone who can defend it, honestly. And I'm just going to point out that Arsenal lost the league last year by 2 points.
Mhm.
So I'm not
That
saying that.
happens again. How
Yeah, like if it happens again, then granted, I'm not going to absolve Arsenal of all of their future mistakes that they make this season. This is based solely off this one. Like Arsenal will make plenty of mistakes this year. Um, and we will lose a game that we're not supposed to. And if we lose the league by 2 points, then I would rather point to the fact that we didn't beat Aston Villa. You know what I mean? Like we did last year. We never beat Aston Villa. If we beat Aston Villa just one time, we win the league. So I would rather look at it that way. But the league has been they're fine margins in the Premier League over the last 10 years. Ask Liverpool. They got
this is
97 points and didn't win the league. So yeah.
this one's so rough that I know they rarely do this and they're probably not going to. But they've got some time here with the break. They should probably pull back his suspension. Like honestly, they should.
I
Like you got your red, whatever. Like, but you don't need to be missing games for something like this over a clear and obvious error.
The problem
But they're
is,
not going to.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
they the PGMOL, the FA, they refuse to admit their mistakes. So, yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna miss the
So he
the
misses the
Spurs
North
game.
London Derby. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and our other Michael Marino that we signed is injured for 2 months because Gabriel Mongalos fell on him in training on his first training session.
broke his shoulder.
Broke his shoulder. So I guess it's gonna be Ethan Munyari against I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's gonna be Kai Havertz and we'll play Trossard as a false nine. I don't know. Maybe Raheem Sterling.
Would
Maybe Raheem Sterling will get his debut for Arsenal against Tottenham as the false nine. We will see.
It's probably what you do is you drop Havertz and let Sterling play up top.
I think that's
Um,
probably what he does. If Jesus is healthy, then you would just put Jesus there. But
I don't want to rub salt in a wound before we move on, but it would be a great game to have Emil Smith Rowe.
yes, but my boy Emil is shining at Fulham. Dude, right now, Arsenal players or
He
former
is.
Arsenal players at Fulham, you've got Bernd Leno in goal, Alex Iwobi, Emil Smith
Yeah.
Rowe, and Reece Nelson joins on loan at Fulham. So I'm
Yes.
gonna have to be rooting for Fulham.
It is Arsenal South
Yeah.
or Arsenal West or however you want to. It is Southwest.
Yeah.
Arsenal Southwest.
It's south of where Arsenal is, so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, so that's it. Let's turn our attention to your game, to the
Okay.
Newcastle Tottenham match up at St. James's Park on Sunday. Newcastle get the win
Yeah.
2-1. But I don't think that tells the whole story.
No. It doesn't. So the whole story, it's all right. So we broke through against Everton, but seems like that's not saying much because everybody's breaking through on Everton. But
Seems like it.
um, it's kind of the same problem as last year, and kind of the same problem as Leicester, that we absolutely dominated the game. We had 66% possession. We have an we have a disproportionate amount of touches than the rest of the league. Uh, in the top 25% of the field, meaning the other team's
Yeah.
side. And it is disproportionately large. I think the second place in the league is you guys. Um and then of course your or maybe Liverpool, but it's your normal high press attacking people. It's
Yeah.
it's City, it's Arsenal, it's Liverpool. Um Ipswich was up there for whatever reason.
Hey now,
But
there
that's
you
probably
go.
because it's early, but um I think the graph I saw had us almost double second place, where we are not just possessing the ball and passing it around, trying to find the hole, trying to find the gap. We're up there,
Yeah.
and
You're in the attacking
20
third.
shots, yeah, 20 shots, 6 on target. They're just not going in the goal, um, which is infuriating. I did like to see finally, or maybe knock on wood, the fouls leveled out. We had roughly the same amount of fouls and the exact same amount of yellows. Because last year I took umbrage with the fact that we would routinely have less fouls and more yellow cards. Which, if it happens in a game, sure, but when it's every bleeping game, it gets infuriating. I mean, you got to deal with accrual over the course of a season. It just gets infuriating.
Yeah.
Um, so 4 yellows, not great, but it's at least on par with how they were adjudicating the other side as well. Um, the first goal was just remarkable. I'm sure you had a chance to watch at least some of it. Um, the Harvey Barnes goal, that's just not getting stopped. Vicaria had no chance of that.
Yeah.
Just a moment of brilliance. I didn't even see a breakdown in defense. I just gets a toe to it and deflects it in. The second goal was really bad. That
From
was
like a
Bruno or
defensive perspective.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mentioned in the group chat though that is a goal that with our play style is probably going to happen against especially quality attacking teams because we play such a high line that it's just going to happen. Now I will say if we had Van de Ven on the field, there wouldn't be two people faster than our entire back line
That's
because
something
he would have covered it.
I was gonna bring up is the fact that like Van de Ven was out and he is I think the fastest land speed Premier League player,
He
for
is, yeah.
which is a crazy statistic.
At least
Um,
last year.
yeah, I don't know
At
if they've
least
done.
last year,
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
know if they've published the running tests yet for this year, but even still, he is the flat out the fastest player in the league, and
Yeah.
missing him, I think, really does hurt the ability to play that like suicide level high line that Ange wants to play. Like Ange wants to just
Yeah.
compress the game so hard into the other half of the pitch. Um, and when you've got Drags Knuckles out there instead of Van de Ven, it's harder for that caveman to be able to like pick up his big club and like lumber
Yeah.
back to play
What
defense.
the problem is that he's not slow, and neither is Romero,
No, but
but neither one of them are as fast as Murphy and Isak.
yeah,
They're just
yeah,
they're they are fast players. They're just not
yes.
40-yard sprint with
Yeah.
Alexander Isak. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, but Van de Ven is the point, and
Van de
so
Ven is, yes.
yeah, missing him I think is a big uh, is a missing puzzle piece there in that defensive setup. But it's not like Angie's going to change just because he's missing his fast center back. Like it's not like
Yeah.
the 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 structure is flawed if it requires like that one highly specific trait that only one player in your team possesses. If your structure is based is so heavily reliant on that one ability that one player has, then it's a failed system. But I don't think either one of us think
Yeah.
that Ange's system is failed. I think there are some flaws to it and there's some inherent risks to it, like we're talking about now.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think over the last year or so, it's kind of been proven out to like works fairly well. There is
Yeah.
definitely danger against teams that can break on you and things like that. But I mean, Spurs have been good over the last 14 months.
Yeah, and the the grander point I was getting to that with all the chances and not the finishing is this is what we signed Solanke for.
Yeah.
Unfor- Unfortunately, picked up the ankle. Um, small injury, but with just a few games left to the international break, they just decided to give him the month instead of try to force him back in a week and a half, 2 weeks. So they just said,
Seems
well, just
smart.
hold him out one more game.
Yeah,
Yeah, hold
seems
him out
smart.
one more game, make sure he's good to go after. Um, but that's supposed to be the answer, right? Like that's you got the big guy in the middle. You're supposed to be banging goals in. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. Brennan Johnson definitely was missing um, until he came on, and then it seemed to be the difference. I think he's got to. I think he's got to start.
Oh, interesting.
Um, yeah, we looked. So last week, what they decided to do was have Kulisevsky play instead of Sar.
Yeah.
So they went Basuma, Kulisevsky, Madison in the middle, with Odebear and Johnson on either side of Sun in the middle. And that's what they did last week against Everton that worked so well. And this week, what they decided to do was do Odebear, Kulisevsky on either side of Sun. And even, I think the official lineup had Kulisevsky as the center forward with Sun and Odebear on the outside. But that's not, it didn't seem that that's the way they were playing and brought Sar in. So I think we've got to, if we're not going to have Solanke, we need to go back to that of having Johnson and Odebear on the outside. They seem to just find ways to put balls into the middle or just be generally creative that was lacking against Newcastle
Yeah.
until Johnson came on. And of course, he comes on and he makes an immediate impact and forces Dan Burn to
Yeah.
inexplicably bang it into the back of the net. Um, I actually don't blame Burn there. From his angle, he has no idea. He's just
Yeah.
trying to get it somewhere.
All right. So for
Um,
my hyper incendiary question, it seems like
all right.
some of the internet is turning on Ange. Where are you? Where are you with Ange? Are you Ange out? Is this not
No,
improvement? There's no improvement on this Tottenham team. We're supposed to improve, blah blah. Blah. Like
that's
that's such an insane take, right?
that's the talk. Like, are we? We're in an election cycle. That's as much as I'll say. But there's so much talk of are you in a better place than you were X amount of years ago? Are we in a better place than we were a year ago? Yes, a year and a half ago. Yes, we're in a lot better place than we were a year and a half
Bro,
ago.
what are you talking about? A year ago,
Uh,
you guys were undefeated at this point.
that's true. That's true. We're uh we are one of these crazy Nick Pope saves away from also still being undefeated.
Yeah, true.
He had a lot of. I don't know if you watched the entire 90. He had a lot of really laid out full stretch saves that were really impressive. Um, that were good, well taken shots. Just he just blocked them. Sar had two. Sar in the first tacked absolutely rocketed one right near him, and he gets down. I mean, it's low. It's not much
Yeah.
more than a foot off the ground. He gets down for it, and then gets a very similar opportunity from a very similar spot, and decides to try to take him to the side netting. And he gets there too, and just you're like, dang, what do you got to do to get a ball past this guy?
Newcastle were missing Pope last year. It's that's a big player. So
Yeah,
let's talk quickly. Do we have is Liverpool back, man? They crushed your team, Manchester United, at Old Trafford.
my
Your
yeah,
team. You're the United apologist here. So
yeah, okay, yeah. So now we're projecting.
well,
Uh,
is it Brad? Is Brad the United apologist? Should we do that tonight?
no, it's you.
Because he's not here.
Oh,
Well,
okay, yeah,
we can throw him under the bus.
Brad's yeah, Brad's the United apologist.
He loves Eric Ten Hag.
Oh, I don't know if Liverpool are back. I just think Arsenal are not. I mean, United are not very good. They're. It goes back to the same thing that I've said all of last year is they don't have a plan. They,
Yeah.
they don't. What is Ten Hag's what is Ten Hag's identity? What does he? What do United do that are
Yeah,
unique to United? Nothing.
that's a good question. I'm not really sure. And I think also the other issue with Manchester United that I am maybe haven't taken into enough account in the past is that Ten Hag is a terrible, terrible man manager, and he refuses to accept responsibility when things aren't working. Like you know, he talked after this game and he's like, I mean, look at the XG, like look at the statistics. You know, like look, we should have been right there, and then he says things like, we're the only team other than Manchester City to win titles to win trophies in the last 2 years. So like obviously we're right there. We're the second best team. Like, and he says these things, and you're just like, this man does not operate in reality. This man just thinks that he
We,
can regen his Ajax team from 5 years ago, and it's just gonna be, I don't know. The man lives outside
yeah,
of reality.
a similar point that I was going to make, and then forgot of the Tottenham thing, but I'm not going to take it back because it applies here to exactly what we're talking about. Of like, the ref said this, and a couple of people online have said this. Of like, yeah, but we had a lot of offensive production, and both of Newcastle's goals were against the run of form. So we're really the better team. I'm like, what does that matter? We lost. What is? It doesn't
Yeah,
matter if it's against the run of form. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
The scoreline's 2-1. Newcastle get all 3 points.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
don't get XG awards.
Yes.
You don't get points for that.
So I think that Ten Hag, that's going to have to be like I worry about this United team because I think the players are decent, and I think that they Manchester United like to get up for big games, especially they like to get up against Arsenal. I think that they like to roll over for Liverpool. It seems like over the last couple of years, but they like to go hard at Arsenal, and so maybe that's why I rate them higher than you guys do, and I think that they're more formidable than you guys do. But this Ten Hag guy is just, he is an awful, awful manager in terms of like man managing and taking ownership over his like the mistakes. It's something else, man. Um, City get a
Yeah.
predictable 3-1 win away at West Ham. Erling Haaland scores another hat trick. Is there anything that we need to say about
Yes.
this?
He has 7 already, just to let you
No,
know.
I think he has 8. I think he has 8 now. I saw
Wow.
8. Like the dude's, it's just not. Yeah, that guy was definitely only. That guy was definitely only uh 36
One.
55 million or whatever it was. I totally believe that.
Yeah.
Um, shout out to Crystal
Yeah.
Palace. They got their first point this weekend.
I was going to give another shout out for first
Okay.
point. Ipswich,
Yeah.
first point, back up in so many years. Um, Ipswich got a little bit of a raw deal with the beginning of it, but I'm sure they'll take getting City and Arsenal out of the way, right? Or no, it
Absolutely.
was City Liverpool. Sorry,
Yeah.
City Liverpool.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, just get it done, move on.
they are now 1/40th of the way to safety. Their goal is to
That's
get to
right.
40 as quickly as possible, and if they can't, well, then get as high as possible. Um,
We
interesting,
we
interesting.
rarely do this.
Yeah,
You don't allow us to do this,
I don't.
but hot take 3 games in.
Is it table
It
related?
might
Because I can bring up the
we might
table.
have been yeah we might have been a little remiss in our relegations at least because Everton and Palace look not very
Yeah,
good.
Everton look awful.
Everton look way worse.
Everton look awful.
Um,
I don't know.
but Ipswich and Southampton might be able to put something together. I mean, Southampton also have no points, but like they don't look as dreadful as Everton.
I think you and I both relegated both Palace and Southampton. I mean, no. Ipswich and Southampton. I think
Yeah,
you and I,
yeah,
and I
definitely
think
did.
both of those guys are definitely down there. Um, I think my other team that I was relegating was Nottingham Forest, and they've got 5 points out of 3 games, so they're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know.
Wolves are finding the beginning of the season troubling, just like they did last year, where they kind of fledged for a little bit and then came around. I think they're probably in a similar situation where they're not a bad team.
I
They
mean,
just aren't.
They played Arsenal, they played Chelsea, and then they played
Yeah.
Forest away. And Nottingham
Yeah.
Forest away is not an easy game. So I mean, like they've had a
Yeah.
pretty tough start to the season. Do you want to take a look at these picks? See how everyone did?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
What's up?
coming into the weekend, Joel and Jimmy were kind of neck and neck. They were doing very well, let's say,
Yeah.
and they continued the trend. Jimmy wins this weekend. They had 7 correct picks, which is very impressive. He
You forgot about me. I also was right there.
what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You mean overall?
You forgot about me.
In
Yeah.
the over well,
Going into the week.
okay,
Going into the week.
fair, fine,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Because I am still in second despite a
Well,
bad week. But I did notice when I was doing the ticker, there were a lot of draws. So I knew that this week was going to be a rough week for a lot of folks because
yes.
normally everybody picks the game. They don't pick draw.
Apologies, Sean. I did not mean to cast aspersions upon your picking ability.
Respectable.
I apologize. So yeah.
Respectable 20.
Yeah. So Jimmy got the most right this week, and he had 7. You and Joel tied for second at 5. Brad and Chap come in tied for 4th. They've got 4 each. And I've had a torrid run over the last 2 weeks. I got only 3 right this weekend. Now we did say we gave everybody a pass for Arsenal because we didn't get picks in on time this week. I think the first picks rolled in midway through the Arsenal match. But everyone was picking Arsenal to win anyway, so everyone lost a point there. So
Yeah.
no one really lost a point.
Yeah, I was. I think I was a little later than everybody else, but there is no way that I would have picked Ipswich or a draw. I was picking Fulham no matter what, so I just went ahead and took that L.
You know,
because I was not going to pick a draw anyway.
So Joel sent us his picks on like Thursday afternoon or something like that. And he is the only one that got draw correct in the Ipswich Fulham match.
Yeah.
He's the only one. So big ups to you, Joel. Overall picture, Jimmy has a bit of a lead over you, Sean. He's 2 points up on you. Brad and Joel are tied for 3rd at 17. I'm at 15, and I think I'm already out of it. So I don't think I'm catching up. I had my one blip.
Long season.
My one great showing on match week 1, and it's all downhill from there. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. If you want to play along with that, we are doing that in our Discord. That is linked in the description of this video or podcast for you below. Obviously, we're not going to have any picks this weekend because it's the international break, but we will come back next week when we are previewing match week 4. Other than that, I hope you guys, I hope all of you have a great weekend. Spend some time outside. Starting to feel a little bit like fall here on the East Coast of America. Not quite cold yet, but it's starting to get there, which is welcome. Hit us up on social media. That guy over there, that's at whiteheart_Sean. I am at James Tiffany. Brad, who is absent tonight, is at KSBradG. Collectively, we can be reached at redcard_radio on all of the social media platforms, info.redcardradio@gmail.com if you want to talk to us about sponsorship. And get in our Discord, get in the pick'ems, and we will talk to you all next week. Remember, this is the only episode this week. You don't have to check back in later. But if you ring the sub notification bell, it will always tell you when new episodes of Red Card Radio drop. That's it. Hope you all have a good one. Take care.